Welcome back to another episode of RNT Fitness Radio, and today I'm joined by RNTer Vishal Shanker, who at the tail end of 2019 reached his first transformation checkpoint and came on the podcast to tell his story while being in the midst of the grind phase. Vishal shares his strong connection to his why, how he's juggled his own goals with being an active father to his newborn, and how the physical has been the vehicle to transform his life over the course of his RNT journey so far. This is a powerful episode, and I can't wait for you to listen to Vishal's story. Let's dive in. Before we kind of go into some of your findings that you've had in the last 20 weeks, why don't we kick it off by talking about why you even got started on this journey? What was your trigger? What was your why? What was your why behind your why?
Yeah, so my why. So initially, it started off with I think it's similar to Beiju's one of, his line was, eat, I'm not going to swear because I try not to, eat crap and stay fit sort of thing. It started off with that. So, and I used to be fit to an extent. Healthy, probably not. I could run 10K, 5-10K, play football once a week, cycle to work once a week. But I just had, as you've probably seen my pictures, a nice big gut on there. And I thought I was filling out my chest quite well. Clearly wasn't. And my arms, it's just, I thought it was muscle. Clearly it wasn't. And it enabled me, doing all that cardio stuff enabled me to go out on the weekend, beers and kebabs. I did that, takeaway night every Friday with the missus and the kid. It's like a nice treat, little cheat treat, if you like, even though I cheated probably 3-4 times a week. And then one day it sort of hit me, at work, one of my colleagues was like, yeah, but, why don't you just get into shape? I was like, well, I don't need to because, I can run 10K. It's like, I'm still really fit. And then even my daughter was like, one day she jumped on my stomach and I was like, oh, and she goes, it's so soft. I was like, oh man, yeah, that's not good. It podgy as anything. And I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, do you know what? My parents never had, I'm not sure with a lot of parents, or they're not very active in terms of their health and fitness. And a lot of my family, even extended family, aren't very active in their sort of health, gym-wise. So I thought, well, can I do that and then encourage my daughter to do it? And then now my son, who's like nine months old, obviously eventually, not right now. And now she's like, she honestly would be like, I want to come to the gym with you, which is great. So, we've come to that point where it's that generational health thing has sort of been now a massive factor, which I realised in a month in, I was like, this is the bigger play here, not just for myself, but for my family and my extended family, because my cousins' family, they all sort of say, oh man, you're getting into good shape sort of thing.
So did you have a defining moment? Was it the time your daughter jumped on your belly? Or did you have what was that?
It was that. It was the realisation, and it's the comments, not just the jumping, because she'll jump around or whatever, but it was the point with you're so soft, it's so podgy, not podgy, you didn't say that, but you're so soft, it's like a pillow. And I was like, I don't mind having a little bit of a pillow to an extent, but, this was, that sort of hit home as I need to be fit, in my head as well. When she's older, when she's 10, 15, and she's probably going to go on, hopefully be really active as well in the future in fitness and stuff. I want to be able to not only keep up, but I'm quite competitive. So I want to be able to beat her. In 10, 15 years time, I'm going to be 45, 50. So I want to be able to keep up and beat her when she's older as well.
Brilliant. So the daughter's the main driver here. And beyond just the aesthetics, it was really to create that generational health and inspire your own daughter into living a healthy lifestyle going forward. 100%.
And the knock-on effect of that is, I met my cousins a few weeks ago, and they've all sort of said, you're getting in really good shape, and they're sort of inspired. One of my cousins, and he's saying he's going to start sort of going for this after Christmas, because, even though we have 3 weeks till Christmas, he's going to network out for meetings and stuff, which pretty much means eat and drink the whole 3 weeks until Christmas, and then overindulge during that time. And then he said in January onwards, he wants some advice on what I'm doing. And I was like, absolutely fine. It's great that he wants to do it. And then, I said to him, like, you need a good, solid reason and a commitment for this. So, yeah.
You mentioned, you're doing a few things right. You kind of knew what you were doing. What made you want to take the plunge and increase that level of accountability and gain that mentorship that you've gained from working with RNT, and specifically RNT coach?
So I did a lot of research prior to RNT about how to lose weight, and it was calorie deficit. I knew exactly what to do. This is the funny thing, and I calculated my calories, 1,600. I thought I was doing it. I lost 4 kilograms by myself. It sounds great. It took me 4 months because I kept on cheating.
Yeah.
Right. Like, it's the whole point. I'll do really good at work. I was probably doing around 1,600 at work during the weekdays, and the weekends it would just literally tumble, and I didn't keep control. But you know what? There was this one transformation I saw. I don't know who it was. It was around December time last year, and I only joined in July. It was around December, January time, and it sort of resonated. I was like, this guy, because I saw a few of your transformations that you guys have done, and I was like, genetics playing a part. Not everyone can get this type of body. Not all the Asians I've seen don't have chiseled jaws and flat stomachs. That's not the Asians I know of. So yeah, it's relatable. And then there's one guy who, like an ordinary person, I forgot his name, and I was like, geez, like, that is solid. Like, and it wasn't nothing special. It just looked like a frame like mine prior. Like, and I was like, God, that is a solid transformation there. And then your feeds kept on popping up here or there, and I was like, yeah, these guys have got something to it. Clearly, they can do a good job because they've shown it. And I need some help to do what I'm doing because it's taken me 4 months to lose 4 kilograms. And at this rate, I'm never going to see any decent progress. So it was nice. So that's why I took the plunge. I was like, well, let's go for it. What's the worst that can happen? The worst thing is I don't do anything that I need to do, and I'm back to square one.
And then, so you came on board in July. How did you find the initial phase of cleaning the palate?
Well, initially, I think I wanted to kill Ben, my trainer, Mullah. Put me on tofu, right? And aren't we funny? And I was like, why? I didn't even actually question why you gave me tofu. I thought, let's just do it, right? It's probably there for a reason. Let's just do it and have it for 2 weeks. I actually found clean the palate phase fine. And the first 2 or 3 weeks of my journey were like, there were significant drops in weight, really easy. And it was after that it became funny enough, because I know you talk about there's a dip normally a few weeks in, is it even say 6 weeks?
Yeah.
I dipped after like 3 weeks, like really early.
And that's interesting, because if we look at what you've done before, you lost 4 kilos in 4 months. So clearly there was an issue with your structure, strategy, and systems. And then you sort of implemented that. You got a big chunk of weight off, and then you're probably thinking, well, what's next, right?
Yeah. Like I lost 2, I think in the first 2 weeks, I can't remember, like it was a solid 2.5. It dropped from, I think 71, it was like 2.5 kilos. So in 2 weeks, and it was a really good drop. And then it came into, so that was mid-August. We had like bank holiday coming up, we had gatherings, and I didn't understand food, like takeaway foods and, like dinners out, and how many calories really goes into all of it. So I slacked, honestly, I definitely slacked somewhere where I thought I was still doing a good job, and I wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing to kind of drop a couple kilos, but as we always talk about, it's another thing to keep it off, and it's another thing to be able to do it around your lifestyle. So in the past, I'm assuming that the biggest problems you were facing was the fact that you didn't know what to do when you were faced with work socials, meeting your friends, family events, and all these like the strategies you need to work around those events. And make it a lifestyle solution just wasn't there before?
Like 100%. I think you hit the nail on the head. Like I didn't know like the term buffering, right? I didn't know what to do. I'd never heard of this term about, or just cutting back a little bit, or all the podcasts you guys have done and you and Nathan have done about food hygiene and like meal hygiene, and when you listen to these, and initially you're like, oh, what are you guys talking? Sometimes thinking, what are you guys talking about? This doesn't make sense. Right?
Sometimes we say that as well.
Like two 20, 25 times. I was like, I can't do that. Like, but then if you have a good mouthful of food, you can actually chew 20, 25 times easily.
Yeah.
And then even like the point, it was a few podcasts ago when Nathan said, I think about after each meal, put your fork down. After each bite, sorry. And I was like, so I started incorporating that into it. And that was obviously later on when the podcast came out. And it really made a massive difference. I just felt like there was a lot more structure into what I was doing. There was a lot more. Ben was really good in terms of the buffering side, because I found myself, the bank holiday going out, friend's birthday, Diwali happened. I've had another friend's birthday. I've had my birthday. So how do I buffer for this? And I emailed with my last check-in last week. Even for the party just gone on the weekend that you guys have hosted, I buffered for that on 1,100 calories, which I know you said no buffering, but I've got a shoot in 2 weeks, so I can't. Yeah.
So just for clarity, the buffering is an excellent strategy to use when you're dieting and you're chasing aggressive fat loss and you're working towards that first checkpoint. But I think from a long-term lifestyle solution perspective, which is what you're going to move into in the next phases, that's when you want to start rewiring yourself to not rely on buffers, but rely more on meal hygiene, portion control, and adopt that new lean lifestyle where you shouldn't need to buffer because you're not going to go over the top when you are in these different situations. You don't have that kind of looming goal. Like right now, you've got a photo shoot. So you have to be dialed in on everything, and you need to use buffers in order to stay in a calorie deficit, because if you rely on your own intuition, you're probably not going to be doing yourself justice there, and then it's going to eat into a deficit, and then you may fall behind. So this is actually really interesting to talk to you right now, because we're talking to you a couple of weeks before your checkpoint, and you're probably in like the depths of the grind right now, which we'll come on to later. But just continuing on what you were saying there, talk about some of the strategies that really helped you make this seamless with your lifestyle along the way so far.
So my checkpoints have been really good. I've only recently, I think over the last couple of weeks, have been late on my checkpoints.
Your check-ins, you mean?
My check-ins, sorry, yeah. And that's because I almost lost a bit of structure. So what I've learned from a lot of this is my structure on my emails have got better. My buffering techniques, I've sort of nailed to a T with Ben. The videos I send to Ben have been quality. Like, he gives very instructive feedback. I've taken a lot of this and implemented it into my work life. In terms of my work life structure and balance is so much better now than it's ever been. And you look back and go, well, why couldn't I get my reports out or build my reports on time before? I honestly don't have an answer for it. But now I've got so much structure in my life and what I do now, and I can run you through my sort of daily routine. It's crazy that I couldn't do it before, because there's nothing stopping me. My day hasn't changed. My role hasn't changed. It's ridiculous.
It's crazy. Once you get structure in your life, people think structure limits freedom, but it's actually the other way around. Once you gain structure in your day, it just unlocks you to a new level in all areas of your life. And that's why I always say the physical is the vehicle, because when you focus on your physical, the structures, strategies, and systems you have to implement in order to make progress with your physical being just cascades all across your life. And like you just mentioned, now you're suddenly sending the reports out on time. You're probably on time with a lot of things. You're probably communicating better, more present at home with your family. So
my lifestyle beforehand, and I remember constant moaning to Ben about not being able to do my steps. And this is probably quite an important topic for me and anyone who's got young kids, because I know you've done podcasts before, and I can resonate to a point where people have said they've got kids and they're older, or they work in the city, and it's easy to get steps. It's easier, should I say, to get steps in if you work in London, right? I drive to work. It's, I have no option but to drive to work because it's 7 miles away, which is great. So it's not much of a commute. I've got 2 kids who are very young. One's four years old, one's 9 months old now.
Oh, wow, 9 months. So you started 3 months in?
Yeah. And Ben was like, the first thing was get 10,000 steps in. And I carry my phone pretty much everywhere anyway. So I was looking at my sort of log of how many steps I was doing prior. And I was like, 5, 6, I was like, how am I going to get 10,000 in? Like, that's double the amount of steps I do a day. And you can ask Ben, and he will just say how much I moaned, I can't do it. To the point where I've got a bike at home, and I've got a little stand thing. It's called, you just put a bike on, you can cycle on that at home instead.
Yeah.
So I was using that to compensate for not doing steps. But then there was I couldn't see any tangible sort of results from it. Like I stopped doing that and I started doing more steps. And I could start seeing more of a shift in terms of, I think, how I felt, number one, which I'll come on to in a second. The weight loss was better. I think it all coincided. My step count before was, I'm now doing 15,000 steps a day from 10,000. When I was moaning to Ben before about not being able to do 10, I can now do 15,000 without thinking, which is crazy.
When are you doing it?
So I wake up beforehand, so just to put in perspective, I used to wake up at 7 o'clock. I'm lucky in effect where my oldest daughter, she's quite lazy. She likes to get up about 7:30. So that's quite good. My youngest at the time, broken sleep, a couple of the guys who've just had kids, Ed and Ben will fully understand about broken sleep and how much it drains you. So I would sort of wake up at 7-ish, go out, get ready, go to work, and I'll try to fit in my steps somewhere during the day. And that's when I struggled. And then I'll come home, get a few steps in, eat, go sleep about 11, 12 maybe, just watching mindless TV or whatever it could be. And then one day it just shifted. I don't know what the trigger was, and I can't put my finger on it. But one day I was like, do you know what? Let me try going do something in the morning. Why do I have to go sleep at midnight? Why do I have to wake up at 7? Yeah. Like, can I just shift this? It might have been one of the podcasts, in fairness, that may have done this subliminally for me. I was like, do you know what? Let me just wake up at 5:30. I was like, let me just do it. Get up at 5:30, go for a walk, get steps in. If I can get 5,000, 6,000 steps in and come back home for 7 o'clock, I'm in a good position. Started doing it. Just woke up one day and just started doing it. Made my coffee or whatever it was, put on the headphones, listen to the podcast either for you guys or when I ran out eventually, because I listened to it so much, I had to find something else to listen to. So thank God you got doing loads more now. And I was like, it was easy. It was really easy. And then I get home at 7. I either have my eggs at the time, or I make my peanut oat protein oat bites thing, get ready, sort my kids out as well, go to work, hit the gym at lunch. And my gym, thankfully, as well at work is around the corner, so I could just jog there, get a few more thousand steps in there, come back, work, very structured, go home, take the kid out for a walk, which I never did before.
Brilliant. Get
a few more thousand steps in there. And so I've got my family time because I spend time with my kid in the evening, and then cook dinner if I didn't batch cook or whatever for the week. Or if I have batch cooked, all I need to do is just warm it up. And then I've hit 10,000, 15,000 steps, piece of cake.
So you just implemented it into your day basically. And
then you know what? I go to sleep at 10, 10:30. I don't miss a thing. What was I doing? I kind of look back and go, between 10:30 and midnight, what was I really doing?
It's crazy how when you do this, you suddenly start thinking, you start auditing your life, right? You become a perfectionist, and you're like, what was I doing here? Because there's no other way you can fit all this stuff in without like looking at your diary and thinking, well, is this essential or not? And as you found, there's so much in your diary that's just like, well, this is just mindless. It's not adding anything to my life.
Yeah. And I think one of the things I would say for anyone listening right now, listen to the podcast, and if you've got young kids or wherever it is, you need to step back and have a look at what you can change. Like, it was a big shift. Don't get me wrong. A 2-hour shift from waking up at 7 to 5:30. Going to sleep earlier. But what do you lose from it? I've gained way more than I've ever lost from this. And that's the craziness of it all. I think just fitting it in, and the whole stuff you talk about putting yourself first.
Yeah.
Now I put myself first without without missing family time as well. Because when I put myself first, my me time is in the morning or at lunch at the gym or with my colleagues at work, whatever it might be. So I never miss out on family time either now, which is great. Like, I have a perfect balance.
Has your family life improved?
Yeah, my family life has. So there was an email sent to Ben, I don't know what week it was, a few weeks ago, and it was almost like a realization of where I was, like, mentally on this process, on this path. So, and I'll happily say, like, a few months ago, before my youngest was born, and I haven't really spoken about it to too many people, in all honesty. Before my youngest was born, like, I wasn't really expecting another kid. So, it happened, which is great. We got pregnant quite easily, which is fine. But my mindset, I wasn't ready for one. And then when he was born, I didn't want another kid. Like, it was a really hard place to be in, where you've got this child with you that you're now responsible for. And this is my second. So my first was, it was totally different. So my second was a complete mind shift where I wasn't ready and I didn't want to have another kid. And he was born, and every time, for example, he would cry, and he's loud, like, scream your ears out. And even to this day, he's loud. It was I just didn't want to be at home. And it's really bad, like, because I wasn't even there supporting my wife during this whole time. And when you look back on it, you think, geez, that's a really crappy thing to do and be in. But I couldn't be around, like, I had to get away. So I didn't have me time to get away. And I was really struggling with trying to bond with my kid because I didn't want to bond with him. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And when I was going through this process, and, there was more to it than that. There was my father-in-law's an alcoholic. And in one of your podcasts, I can't remember who it was with, they spoke about emotional vampires. And he was one of those, like, sucked the life out of me mentally because he always wanted to talk. And I was trying to be there and be supportive, but there's a point in your life where he didn't want to change, and he didn't, as much as he said he wants help, he wasn't going to change. And there was arguments, and if anyone's had an alcoholic father-in-law or family member can completely probably get where I'm coming from. And it was just emotionally draining, where I can't focus on my own family because I didn't want to be there. I can't help my father-in-law because he doesn't want to be helped, apart from have a chat when he's probably had a few drinks as well. And it's just, I was drained, physically drained and mentally drained from all of it. Like, I didn't realize, people at work wouldn't notice. I was always happy. I'll go home and I'll be a completely different person. You couldn't tell who I was at home. Like, I'll just be in a mood. I'll go off. If my wife or kids wanted something, I wouldn't bother doing it. I'll just cook, eat, go sleep. And that was it for a fair few months. You didn't realise it. And then the day I realised was I was out for a walk at 5:45 in the morning, and I felt great. Like, and this is one of the things I said to Ben, I was like, if you had told me during this journey that I'll be waking up at 5:30, 5:45 to go get my steps in, I would have told you to F off, because there is no way in my mind, I'll be waking up that early to get some steps in, just to walk. Like it sounds weird. I'll go out and, get some steps. Like it's not a natural thing for people to think about, right? And then I just felt great. I was like, do you know what? I'm going to email him and just say, do you know what? Like, I think it's during either my check-in or whatever. I was like, do you know what? I feel absolutely great. My mind is brilliant. And that's bled on to my family life, where I'm there for my kids. I'm there for my wife. I'm way more supportive. She's seen the change in me. And I've been open and honest with her as well about, where I was before and, why I wasn't there. And, she was going through some tough stuff herself. With obviously, it's her father that's had the issues with alcohol, and I'm not being there for the children to that extent. So this whole process has opened my eyes up and made me feel way better than I think I've ever done. Like I say to people, do you know what? I feel the best I've ever felt in my life physically and mentally. And I've never been that type of person to be mentally well. I've always thought, and then people will think what they want when I say this, but I've always thought if you're mentally not there, as in you're weak, you're weak-minded. It used to be my thought process, but I was there. I was not strong enough for all this time, and in those few months, and like I'm in literally the best place of my life, which is crazy, and it's down to you guys putting in some structure, putting in this, making me, and I feel way better for it.
That's incredible. I mean, if we had to discuss the mission that we're on here, which is to use the physical as a vehicle to transform your life, I think you've pretty much summed it up in that little segment there. So thank you for sharing that, and thank you for being really honest. One question I have for you is, how has your relationship with your newborn changed? Like, do you still feel that feeling you had maybe 6 months ago, or has that evolved?
No, massively evolved. I feel when I look back on it, I feel guilty because I realised how bad I was not being there. Obviously, for him, he hopefully hasn't felt the impact. Obviously, because he's so young. Could only hope. But like, I go home now. Then when I say I take my kid out for a walk, I take him out for a walk. There's benefits for that. If he doesn't go to sleep and have a nap, it's fine because he's facing me or he's facing the way we'll just go for a walk together. I'll take him out in the buggy, carry him around for a bit. That's our little time together. And I go home now, and if he's crying, I'll take him away. I'll do everything because my missus is with him the whole day. She's still on maternity leave. So.
And what do you think about the process changed that for you specifically?
I guess, I don't know, do you know what? I'm not 100% certain. It's a mix of stuff, right? It's a mix. Everything's fallen into place. Either at the same time or it's all slowly kicked. The food side of things are great, in terms of what I eat and cook and stuff. The structure in my life is way better. And I think the structure is probably the most important thing, as well as part of that structure is obviously training, right, and hitting the gym. And that has made me feel better when you release endorphins and the rest. And then just being able to do all that, it's been a blend, if you like, but mainly the structure and the training has sort of lifted it massively.
At what point in the process did you have this realization? Was it very recent?
It must have been probably about 10 weeks in.
Okay, yeah.
So 10 weeks in, and I was started to strip off. It was I remember like weeks 5, 6, 3 to 6 were a bit slow, and for various reasons, and then started to strip off like a kilo a week consistently from like 9 or 8 weeks in. And it's from out there, and I was just randomly just out for a walk, and it's just sort of hit me.
One thing a lot of new parents struggle with, and you've touched on this a little bit, is neglecting their own self-care.
Yeah.
You mentioned, you've always put yourself first without losing or sacrificing on family time. Outside of the walks, what other tips do you have for new parents or anyone who's struggling to put themselves first, or putting that oxygen mask on for themselves first, that they might be able to incorporate into their day?
I think one of the things is speak to your partner first and just see, what your diary is like, what your day is like, what your week is like. Because, I know with me and my wife have a routine. We know exactly what happens during the week. We know exactly, we're both at home at certain times. We're both out at certain times or whatever it might be. So I know I need to fit in what I can outside of those times, without compromising on family situations. Now, my weekends are definitely my family time. I still get my steps in on the weekends. Funny enough, it's probably a bit more of a struggle because I have less of a structure in terms of, I don't go to the gym. Weekends are my rest day, so I don't walk or jog to the gym or whatever it might be. So I try fitting in something. I still wake up early, may not be 5:30, it may be 6:30, and go for a half hour, 45-minute jog instead. So with any parents out there, I honestly, especially with newborns and young ones, is regardless if you can't wake up early for whatever reason, figure out that mind shift, figure out where you have time in your day. There is time if you want to make time, and that's the thing. Like, I didn't think I had time in my day. I'm too busy. If I look at my diary, I'm busy the whole day. I can't go gym at lunch. Why? Because I sit down with my friends and eat, which is great. I like being sociable, but can I sacrifice some of that time for myself and put myself first in this scenario to hit my goals? Then yes, there's definitely ways. Speaking to your partner is definitely one of them, and then figuring out where you can be selfish, if you like, and putting yourself first. And like I say, lunchtimes, points in the evening, there's some way in the day that you can fit it in.
You find that difficult? Taking on more, as you put, quote unquote, selfish tendencies? No,
I don't find it difficult. I think if you say you're finding it difficult, you, in my honest opinion, you're finding reasons to not achieve your goals. And for people who have probably just started this process, because I know obviously you've had a new wave recently over the last couple of months, you could be listening to this podcast and go, no, but he doesn't understand my lifestyle, right? And I was in the same position. I used to listen to all your podcasts and be like, yeah, but it's easy for you because you don't have kids. Or like, if your kids are 15, your kids are, young or old, or you work in the city, or, I was like, well, you don't have the troubles I have. But yet I found space in my busy schedule to fit myself in. So there's a way of fitting time for yourself. And because I've made time for myself, my family life has improved massively. And because of that, mindset-wise, we're in a much healthier place. And nutritional-wise as well, if you want to touch on the food side of things, much healthier place for both mind and sort of food.
That's the paradox of it always, that people say, oh, I've got too much on with my family, or I've got too much on with work. Once they implement the structure, strategy, and systems, they realize they actually have a better quality of family time, and they do better work.
And that's the thing. And honestly, like I say, when you listen to people talking about this, and you're going to be like, well, don't be silly. Like, you can't do that. I can't fit this in. I can't do that. You can. And I honestly resonate with everyone who probably has that mindset initially of, I can't fit that in because of my family, because of this. But you can. And if you have time, if you're going out on the weekend, if you're in your fat loss stage, as you said, be buffering. If you're coming out of that stage, then you want to be just understand your food and be more prepared for it. It's all doable. It's on mindset. Yeah. And that's the massive focus shift.
How regularly do you connect with your why?
Obviously, I go home every day. My daughter's there as a constant reminder. And she says to me, Daddy, you're eating all these vegetables. I'm like, yeah, because it's really good for you. Like, and it fills you up. And then, she loves her broccoli anyway, which is great. So I love it. I like to have a ton of that. So she'll eat that. She asks constantly to come to the gym with me, which she can't because she's 4, but what? It's there. Like, she's asking to come to the gym. It's great. She does yoga on the weekends. So I've at home, there's like a YouTube channel for kids yoga or whatever. So I go to her and I've made a promise. So I go, look, every weekend when we're at home, put on the yoga and I'll do it with you. So I try and help. I participate with her as much as she tries to then participate with me. If she sees me for some reason, doing sit-ups at home because I need to do some ab workout or whatever because I couldn't do it at the gym, then she'll try and join in. So it's always there. And I may not think about my why too much, but it's always there because she's there. And that just reinforces, that's a reinforcement sort of almost subliminally for me going, well, she loves this because I'm doing it. And that's what I want her to grow up doing in the future.
That's powerful. I mean, if every day you're going home thinking like that, you're going to be connected to a why, and there's no obstacle that's too big that you can't overcome.
Yeah, no, exactly. And you know what? Hopefully in a few years' time, my son's going to be at the same position, 5 years old, and wanting to do what I'm doing. In 5 years' time, I don't aim to not do what I'm doing right now. This is, as you said before, in loads of topics and stuff, it's a lifestyle change, not a diet for 6 months. Like I'm not in it for that. I'm in for a lifestyle.
Yeah. And on the way to that lifestyle solution, there is that checkpoint that you've got to reach initially, where you really push yourself into a place you've never been to before. We've coined it the grind, and you're in that right now. So it'd be good to get some insights into how you're feeling, the looming photo shoot you've got coming up, and some of the maybe potential discoveries you've had in the past few weeks, or in the past few weeks particularly, that have come on since you've been in this final stretch of the second phase.
Yeah. So So firstly, looking forward to the photo shoot. Can't wait. It's something I've never ever thought about doing as well. Like when me and my wife Jana were going out, and even when we first got married, she wanted to do like these photo shoot things, where you go to some photo studio, and I was like, I don't want to do that. But so funnily enough, I've put myself in for a photo shoot, which I never thought I'd do, but it's a checkpoint, and I can look back on this and go, do you know what? That is a point for me to always look back on and go, if I ever fall out and get a bit too fluffy later on, I know I can get there again, sort of thing. But the grind's been good. Funnily enough, I know there's another guy, Amit, whose photo shoot was on the weekend. Tomorrow.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he's been saying how it's been quite powerful for him going for the grind phase. When we spoke at the party as well, the RNT party the other day. And I've just realised I've learned a lot about this. The steps don't change. That's been I'm on 1,100 calories now. I was on 1,350 to 1,400 for about 7-8 weeks. So the drop in calories when Ben told me was like whoa, what are you doing to me? This is low already. But I was like, let's just see what happens, right? How can I survive, if you like, and I use that term loosely, on 1,100 calories? And I just learned to space my food out better. It's when for example, I don't have breakfast till 9:30, 10 o'clock, as opposed to eating it at 8 o'clock at work, which is I made those oat bites with protein powder and stuff. And I make it, if I start at 9:30, I finish it by 10:30, 11. Yeah. My snacks are yogurts and berries and protein powder I mix up. And instead of coming straight out of the gym and smashing one of those out, I wait, I'll spread it out half, maybe at 2, and the rest of it at 3:30, 4 o'clock. So I spread out my food. I'm more conscious of my food and more aware, and I take my time over food. The meal hygiene thing. And then when I go home in the evening, I've always, there's like 100 calories spare in between, which I then have a quick snack when I go home, just to make sure I don't get too sort of, if you like, hangry, because I'm a naturally hangry person anyway from ages ago. So I don't want to do that when my kids are sort of playing up in the evening because it's time for bed and they get tired. And then I have dinner at 8-ish, and it doesn't sound like lots, but when you put it on your plate, it's 200 grams of chicken, 200 grams of veg. It's loads, and it's a good amount. And I drink loads of water, and I'm good. The food thing during the grind has probably been the most insightful bit for me in terms of understanding how to space it out properly.
Yeah, and you also realize that you understand the true meaning of hunger. And like when you actually are hungry versus whether you think you're hungry. And then these sorts of symptoms, you can start really becoming more self-aware with your body's mechanisms. And as long as you pay attention to that and carry it forward going forwards, that's when it really makes a difference. Because if you can... Yeah,
it's a great example. Actually, it's a great point, because it must have been, what day were we on? Monday. I felt starving. I felt really hungry in the evening. And my wife's was pre-diabetic after birth, after she gave birth to our little one. So she's been going to like NHS courses and stuff just to make sure she's on the right track. And she's doing really well at it, which is good. But then the other day I was really hungry. I felt really hungry because I ate my dinner too quickly. I ate it too quickly. I was like, oh, I'm still hungry. I was like, I really want like some food. And she's been recently, she's been baking loads, during a grind phase, coming home to a kitchen smelling of sugar. It's tough, right? I'm like, I just want some biscuits. Like, give me one of the biscuits you made. And she goes, and she said to me, just drink some water. And then as a reminder, I was like, all right, let me just go get. So I went and got my big glass of water, sat down, drank it. I was absolutely fine. I wasn't actually hungry. It's just because it's that point I have rushed my food too quickly, and I thought I was hungry.
It's crazy when you're in situations like social situations, and people say, "Oh man, I'm starving," and I'm like, "Are you actually starving, or are you actually hungry, or are you just associating this time to eat with, or are you just bored, or are you trying to fill the void?" And I think when you're on the grind, when you're restricted on your calories, you've got this checkpoint in mind. It just teaches you your own body's mechanisms and feedback mechanisms. And if you can take that forward and remember them going when you're in like a lifestyle phase, that's when it becomes a lot easier to be able to maintain it.
Yeah.
Now you're in tune with your body. Now you're self-aware enough to know, do I actually need to eat this, or am I just telling myself I'm hungry?
And it's good that, I've educated my wife on parts of stuff I've learned on this process, because she may not have even said just drink water. She may have said, and in fairness, when in times in the evening I've got a bit peckish, for a little bit of whatever, she's like, go I bought some 10 calorie jellies, which Ben recommended because I have a sweet tooth. And I only started getting that sweet tooth probably during the start of the grind phase, more so. So he's like, just have that, and it's actually quite decent. And then so she reminds me, go to have that or have water, and she keeps me. She's like, look, you haven't got long left, just fix up. So she's been really good support over the last few weeks as well.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference having peer support around you. And how have you found it with? So you mentioned your wife has been super supportive. How have you found it with your colleagues, your potential wider family?
So I know everyone's had their stories of skinny versus healthy and whatever it might be. I did what you guys sort of suggested and told people around me first. So I sent a note out to my close colleagues at work saying, this is what I'm doing. You'll probably see me shift weight. It's fine. I'm not going ill or anything, sort of thing. Just help me through the process, right? Just make sure I stick, make sure I don't eat what, when we go out, there's a place around the corner here that does amazing katsu curry. And I used to go there once, sometimes twice a week. So now, and then I'm like, make sure I don't, just help me not succumb to all this stuff initially whilst I'm getting used to it. And they've been really supportive. My family have been great. I don't think I've had an issue with that at all. My cousins especially, I saw them a few weeks ago. We met up for a little weekend away, and one of them hugged me, just say hello, right, as you do. And he didn't say anything at the time. And then it was only when sort of we hit the gym and then I jumped into the pool, he was like, Vish, do you know what? When I hugged you, I was going to say you were too skinny, but now look at you and it's literally lean. And I was like, no, cheers. He goes, yeah, no. He goes, I actually can see what you're doing, like sort of thing. He goes, you look great. And it was really good. Like all my cousins, none of them were saying you look skinny. They're all supportive. And if there are people, in your life that are going, you're too skinny, they probably mean well. Most of them hopefully mean well, but they don't understand. And that's the main difference. Like the people at work, the people who go to the gym regularly, they will say, I'm looking lean. The people who don't go to the gym and just see me and who don't understand food and and what I'm doing will just say I look skinny.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I'll let them say what they need to. They don't really say too much anyway, but they don't understand the difference. And then it's only when I show them a random before and after picture. I go, look, this is it then. This is me right now. And then they can't believe it. Their jaws drop.
With the photo shoot coming up, how are you feeling heading into Consolidation?
I would say I'm excited, but my friend joined at the same time, and he's just started his consolidation phase. And it's not like you go from 1,100 calories to 2,000. So I'm not.
I didn't make I'm not podcast before, did he?
Yeah. So yeah, he's gone up by a couple of hundred, and a couple hundred more now. He's done quite well in his consolidation phase, and actually for some reason has maintained his weight, which is great. Like we keep in touch. We almost hold each other accountable as well. So I'm excited to, I guess, eat a little bit more. I don't think it's going to change that much, if I'm totally honest. I'm nervous about the photo shoot because, like I've trimmed, I trialed and trimmed off my body hair, and I was like, geez, that's probably 2 kilograms there.
Clip or the wax?
Yeah, I used the trimmer, but this is a note for anyone who's doing a photo shoot. If you're hairy as me, just get waxed, because it took me an hour and a half to do my arms to my chest. Like,
I've always clipped, but I'm not that hairy. But with the wax, you've got to make sure you test it out and you don't get a reaction. Yeah,
well, my wife's auntie is like a beautician person. I might reach out to her. I don't know. I'll see. It's only small trimming left to do now, so it can't be that bad. It shouldn't be as long as 2 hours for the top part of my torso.
First layer off.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see. And then, the whole tan thing, I'm just getting my head around speaking to people, which is cool. I don't mind doing it. It's something, it's a checkpoint for me to look back on and go, yeah, smashed it.
And what's the long-term goal? How do you want to approach the investment phase? Are you looking to build on some serious size, or are you going to head down more the lifestyle solution route? Where's your head at right now?
I don't know why. And it's just a number that people have in their heads, right? Like I had a number of dropping to 60 kilos. I'm not going below that, right? Yeah. And I looked at my belly at 60. I'm like, I need to go below that because I was not. And in my head, I've got 65 kilos, and I don't know why. It's just it sounds like a nice number to get to eventually, and I don't know how long it took me to get there. Building up, probably a long time. Listened to a podcast the other day. Isn't like half a kilo a month of muscle mass if you're building strong or whatever. So it's going to take me ages because I'm at 55 today. So, but yeah, I want to have a lifestyle. I want to build up slowly. I don't need to go massive. My frame is good now. I have this running joke with guys at work. I'm like, have you seen Nutty Professor? Oh, so for those who've seen Nutty Professor, the first one with Eddie Murphy, where he has his like potion, and he's really fat, and he has his potion, goes really slim. And the first thing he says, he looks down and goes, "Oh my God, I can see my dick!" Right? So, and that was like the realization for me. So I'm like, yeah, I'm in a great place. So sorry for the guys on the podcast. I said I wouldn't swear, but But yeah, that is. I just want to be lean-ish, but build on more. Like, I think a few more kilos up. I'm looking forward to investing a bit more into this.
It's funny how when you're dieting down, you had this number of 60. Everyone's got this number, right? It's 75.
Yeah, and I heard it on the podcast as well. And I was like, yes, I heard it. You guys said it as well. And I was like, yeah, 60.
So nice, like 60, 65, 70. It's all the nice round numbers. And then you start losing body fat and you're like, oh, I don't think it's going to be 60 or I don't think it's going to be 70. It's going to be a little bit more. And then you change your mindset around it. You're like, you don't become as attached to their numbers. Then you start building and you're like, you know what? It would be nice to be there. And I had this whole obsession for a long time of being 90 kilos. During a building phase, I was like, you know what? 90 kilos would be good. Got to 90 kilos. I look like a mess. But hit that milestone for me. And I remember the first ever time I dieted, I was like, for bodybuilding show. And I must have started at 84. And I was like, you know what? I reckon I'll be about 78 at the end of this. Got down to 70 by the time I finished. So it just goes to show how much body fat we all carry and how little muscle mass we actually all have, or compared to what we think we have.
We think we have. It's that perception piece. And I've told people at work, because they see obviously my face got thinner. I hid my belly really well. So no one can see all that.
Yeah.
So, they're like, oh. I was like, it's perception. You're used to seeing in what reality is a chubbier version of me.
Yeah.
It's just you couldn't see where the chubbiness was.
Yeah. It's crazy. And I think it's not just applies to men as well, it's women as well. We all have this attachment to the scale number, but the more you can kind of separate from that, the better. Yeah. So listen, Vishal, this is gonna go out just before the start of 2020. If you've got a lot of people who are going to be thinking about transforming their bodies in 2020, looking to get to the next level in all areas of their lives, what if you had to give one tip to them, what would it be?
Everyone says it and you kind of think, what the hell are you talking about? But everyone says it is, if you're doing it, go all in and trust the process.
I love it.
And it sounds almost like a blasé statement to people, but like it's a process bloody works. Like you can't, and the times where you don't follow the process, it doesn't work. It's freaking simple. Like it's crazy, but that is it. For people who want to do it and change, have that why behind them, understand why you're doing it, and trust the process going through this phase.
Yeah, I mean the phases are all predictable. They're unique in how they unravel towards you, but the challenges and obstacles are all predictable, and the same solutions apply. And I really like what you said earlier on, is that there's no unique problem that people have. We're all dealing with the same sort of problems. It's just framed differently and just needs to be applied slightly different towards you. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, and what you guys, Ben's been really good in adjusting certain things for me when I needed it. He understands, he's got a kid now as well, so he knows about sleepless nights and all that. I go, look, dude, I was just too tired to get in my steps one day. Don't kick yourself, right? If you didn't do it, it's fine. Just pick yourself back up and then carry on, And that's the thing, it's one of those where I'm like, you just need to continue what you're doing and don't give yourself a hard time if you've messed up one day, as an example. Like, it's not worth crying over.
Yeah, it's a long game, for sure. So Vishal, the question I love to ask everyone at the end is, who should we have on the podcast next?
I think it's someone to do with doctors about, I know you've just had it recently, in fairness, like nutrition and more of that sort of food wellness stuff.
Yeah.
I know a lot of podcasts touch a lot of the transformations and weightlifting journeys and stuff. A few more of that in-depth knowledge into the food side of things. I know, like ages ago, Coach Jake Carter, I listened to that podcast back at one of the first, I think. That was interesting, about gut health from back in the day. That sort of stuff, like that really interests me as a good example. So
cool. I'll get on that. Any parting words?
For me, just quickly, actually, I'm making sure I'm not going to go nuts into out of this consolidation phase. Christmas is coming up, so it is a tough time for me to go into consolidation. It's a tough time for everyone, but be mindful of what you're eating. Don't overindulge. Christmas is family time, right? I've actually booked as a treat for me and the wife in January, like a nice restaurant in London to go to have dinner. My parting words would probably be mindful of yourself. Make sure you're prepared on this journey. Be prepared for the changes in your body, but also your mental state. It's a great place to be in, and then carry that through and be there for, if you've got family, for your family and your friends.
Brilliant. Thanks for coming on, Vishal.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here today on this episode of RNT Fitness Radio. I'd love for you to do a quick little favor for us. Please head over to iTunes and give us a 5-star rating, leave a comment, and share it with your family and friends. If you're interested in learning more about how to transform your body and positively change your life, go to www.rntfitness.com and explore all our free content on offer. Thank you.